Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. So the video that I'm going to do today is pretty highly requested, and it is just going to be a story time about how we found out that Londyn had diabetes, the whole story behind it, some of the signs and symptoms that you can watch out for. So we're not going to prolong this, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so first, Londyn was diagnosed December 3rd, 2018. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of the backstory. I'm going to try not to make this video super long because a lot happened. My memory is a little fuzzy just because everything just kind of spiraled. It happened so quick. But from what I can remember, I remember around Thanksgiving 2018, I noticed that Londyn was thirsty a whole lot, and she would just ask for water. Mommy, can I have water? I want water. I'm thirsty. Can I have some water? And at the time, I thought, okay, my daughter, she likes drinking water, healthy, like, way to go. Yeah, drink water, drink water. And I also noticed that she was going to the bathroom a whole lot. Like, I want to say maybe 3 times in an hour, like something ridiculous, to the point where it was like, why are you going to the bathroom so much? And I also attributed it to the fact that she was drinking so much water. You drink a lot of water, you go to the bathroom a lot, right? So I didn't really think anything of it until my mother started noticing that she was drinking a lot of water as well and going to the bathroom a lot. And she was like, that might not be the most normal thing. And then she would go over families' houses and they would, let me know, like, yeah, when Londyn was over here, she was using the bathroom a lot and drinking a lot of water. So I'm like, okay, this probably isn't that normal. So let me go ahead and set her an appointment. So I think I made an appointment at the end of November. I remember we had an appointment on a Friday. So we go in, and the doctor's asking me all of these questions. I'm telling her that she's drinking a whole lot, she's eating a whole lot. They're asking me different questions, and so I'm telling them the information. And so she has to pee in a cup. You guys, when I tell you, getting a little kid to pee in a cup, I don't know why they do this. We go in the bathroom, Londyn doesn't have to go to the bathroom, so we're sitting there and I'm like, you gotta go to the bathroom, you have to go. She doesn't want to go. So 5 minutes later, she finally goes. It's a mess, so we're not even gonna go into that, but we get it done, right? So we come back in the room, and the doctors is telling me, it could be this, it could be that, but we're gonna run her urine to make sure, whatever. And I don't think at that time, the word diabetes was mentioned. So, in my head, I'm like, oh, we'll get this cleared up, no big deal. Well, since it was a Friday, the doctor said, we probably won't get the labs back until Monday, but once we get them back, we'll give you a call and let you know what's going on. So I'm like, okay, cool, go home, and I get a call from the doctor. I'm like, okay, that was quick, it's probably something, simple or whatever. So she calls and she says, okay, so, we've run some of her tests, and we noticed that the sugar in her urine is really, really high. Normally, for normal people, you have a little bit, like trace amounts of sugar in your urine, which is totally normal. But when it gets to the high amounts, that means that your blood sugar is really high. And I forget the word, but I'll put it on the screen, and basically saying your blood sugar is super, super high. So at that point on the phone, she was like, we could be looking at diabetes. And at that moment, I just remember, like, my heart kind of dropped in my chest. Like, I just felt like this heavy weight, and I was just like, oh my God. But she was like, we're not gonna say anything yet. We're just gonna wait till the rest of the tests come back, and we'll let you know. I immediately was like, okay, I'm not gonna panic. I got off the phone, but I'm panicking. I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do? And so, like I said, this was a Friday, so I didn't know what to do. So I call my mom and I'm telling her what the doctor says, and she's like, she's just like, okay, calm down. She's trying to calm me down. Calm down. Don't freak out. They'll get the test results back. They'll know what to do. Everything will be okay. It's not like she doesn't seem to be sick or anything, so it'll be okay. So at that point, my first thought was to just go ahead and research it to figure out what I could do, but I'm like, no. Because you know how you go on Google and you type in stuff and you find the worst of the worst of the worst. So I did not want to do that to myself. So I literally was like, okay, I prayed about it and I said, okay, we'll figure this out on Monday. I'm going to take the weekend and just relax and not think about it. And Monday comes and I'm driving Londyn to school. She was in preschool at the time and she was going in the afternoons, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I was driving her to school. It was like around 11 and I get a call from the doctor's office. So, my heart started beating a little bit because I'm like, okay, oh God, okay. All right, so I answer it. She's basically like, hey, we got the labs back. We need you to bring Londyn to the doctor like right now so we can check her blood sugar, pretty much. Like, she made it seem pretty urgent. So I'm not gonna lie, I got scared. I'm just like, okay. She was like, can you come now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm right up the street. She was like, okay, come now. Let the people know at the office, at the front desk, that we sent you, and they'll come get me and we'll bring her right back. So I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous because of the urgency in her voice and everything. So I'm like, okay, still not trying to freak out. I know I get on the phone with Anthony and I'm telling him what's going on, and still not trying to freak out, calling my mom. So I take her straight to the doctor's office. Luckily it was literally like 5 minutes away. So we go to the doctor, get in, and they immediately want to check her blood sugar. And the way they do that is just the finger pricks. So, this was totally new to us and scary. So, I'm trying to calm her down, like, it's gonna be okay. They're just gonna get a little bit of blood, run some tests to make sure you're okay. Literally, this was so scary. And I remember it all happened so fast. Like, I just remember 3 people being in the room. It was the doctor, the nurse, and then the guy that drew the blood or whatever. So they were all in, and it was just like a lot of people in the room, and I don't even know really if they were explaining anything to me. I don't know. Like I said, I was here, but I wasn't here. So they literally took the machine, drew her blood sugar, and at that time it just said high. And if anybody knows, high means I think it was at least 500. That's high. They were like, yeah, you need to go and take her over to Children's Hospital, which was about 30 minutes away. You need to go take her to Children's Hospital now. We'll call it in. So once you get there, you can get in, be seen, and get it taken care of. And they were basically, I remember them saying, she could be in DKA. And I'm like, what the heck is DKA? Like, so basically DKA, and I'll put it on the screen again, but DKA is basically when diabetic ketoacidosis, and that's basically where your body is not producing enough insulin and your blood sugar is shooting straight up, and it can cause adverse effects to your body. It can cause organs to start shutting down and basically just makes you really, really sick. A lot of the times in people that are in DKA, you notice they have a lot of weight loss. They just don't look good. They might their face might be flushed, their face might be extra skinny, like they can't hold weight, a lot of those things, which Londyn wasn't exhibiting any of those symptoms. So we literally had no clue but the thirst and going to the bathroom a lot. So they call and they say, okay, go right over. So like I said, I'm panicking at this point because of the urgency, and I'm, me not knowing what anything is and it just happening so quick. I'm panicking, so I get on the phone with Anthony, I get on the phone with my mom, and I'm like, hey, we need to go to Children's right now. So I'm like, meet me. So we get in the car and we go straight down. You guys, that was literally the longest 30-minute drive ever. Like, I'm like trying to speed but not speed at the same time. We finally get down there, and then we go to the emergency room, They get her right back. I think we might have had to wait for like 10 minutes or whatever, but they basically, her condition would be considered urgent. So they went ahead, got her all psyched in, checked her blood sugar. She was still, it was reading high, which means she was at least 500. So I remember they took us back to one of the emergency rooms and they started her on some fluids. Like I said, it was all a blur, so I'm not exactly sure what fluids they started her on. But basically, they hooked her up to some IVs, and you guys, I just remember her 4-year-old little body, and she, you know, she didn't know what was going on, but she was such a trooper.
Hi guys, so today I went to locker, so now I'm gonna went to locker. So I'm gonna have people burn out.
What did they do to your finger?
Huh?
What did they do to your finger?
They poked my finger.
They poked it? Did you cry?
No.
No, you was a big girl? That's all you got to say? That's all you got to say? The whole time, like, she was a little, you know, apprehensive at first because she had to get, you know, the needles and the shots and everything. But she did so good with that IV. Like, I was really impressed with her. So I just remember, you know, I was like, you know, I remember talking to her and being like, you know, she's like, why are we here? And I'm like, you know, you're a little sick, you're not feeling good, you know, you're going to the bathroom a lot, and, you know, you're really thirsty. That's because, you know, you're a little bit sick, but we're gonna get you all better. So I just remember her, you know, she was always in good spirits, smiling the whole time. The doctors and nurses came in and was like, you know, they couldn't believe, because most of the kids that they see that come in, they're, you know, sick or could barely walk and talk and, you know, dehydrated and all that stuff. And Londyn was just fine. Remember the doctor coming in and he was like, okay, has anyone talked to you? And we're like, no. So he's like, okay, Londyn has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So it's official, because no one had ever said, like, this is what she has concrete. It was just like, you know, we suspect, need to go, and it just happened super quick. So he was like, yeah, she has type 1 diabetes. With type 2 diabetes, diet and exercise, you can basically be cured. But for type 1, there is no cure for type 1 diabetes currently. Giving us all the information, asking us if we have any questions, and honestly, I'm just like, yeah, I have so many questions. Like, what do you mean? Yes, what? I don't know. So, like I said, so they were like, yeah, you're gonna need to stay overnight. So at that point, I remember they moved us to like the children's wing, and we got our room set up and everything. A lot of doctors coming in. I remember she couldn't eat for about like 4 hours until they could try to get it under control. But it was a lot of doctors and nurses coming in, and it was a lot of information. And it was just so overwhelming. I just remember being so overwhelmed and like, oh my God, like I was just speechless. So like I said, Londyn was a trooper. It was a couple times that they had to give her, you know, poke her again in her veins, and, you know, after a while she was getting fed up. So it was a couple times where my heart just broke for her, just because it's like, y'all poking my baby, don't do that. Yeah, so the next day we met with the dietitian, we met with some of the diabetic nurses, and they literally gave us thick packets with all the information that we needed to know. They did have a class with us, but y'all know, like, it was just so much information. So they taught us how to give her the insulin, all about her food and carbs and ratios and all of that stuff. We had a crash course that day, and we stayed in the hospital, I want to say, I think it was at least 4 days. I think it was 4 days, yeah. So we stayed in 4 days, and each day, you know, they would come, and each day we would have to do it ourselves. So we would have to poke her finger, we would have to give her shots and all of that stuff, you know, so that we could get prepared for when we go home and it's all on us. So I remember Londyn at first, you know, she was not with it. We had to fight and fight and fight with her. But she did good for the most part in the hospital. Yeah, so after our stay at the hospital, the doctors released us, sent all of our prescriptions to the pharmacy, and you guys, we were on our own, literally. So I remember specifically the first night we got home, and Londyn, we poked her finger and she was high. She was like 300. I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, we had just learned all of this information, but I did not know what to do. So they gave us a number to call, and for the nurses line 24/7. So I called that number, and I'm like, I'm new to this, and my daughter is 3 something, and I don't really know what to do. And she's like, okay, calm down. They were very good about helping us out. So I was able to give her insulin. But you guys, I just remember the first week or so when we were home, Londyn literally kicked and screamed and cried. And I literally remember breaking down at one point. I think I called my mom, I don't know. But I just remember breaking down, and I was like, I literally am not gonna be able to do this. It broke my heart to have to give her shots, and then it also broke my heart for her to cry and scream, and us literally having to hold her down to give her these shots. And it's like, you have to. This is like life or death pretty much. Like, you have to get these shots, so it's non-negotiable. But you just feel so bad because it's like, is it gonna be like this forever? Like, I was just. And now looking back on it, like I said, Londyn does it herself. So it's like, it was literally brand new. But I just know, looking back, I was in so much stress and turmoil, and I just wanted to quit and give up. But it's like, I can see, looking back, that it literally got so much better. And even though I wasn't on YouTube during that time, I was recording and filming it, which I'm so glad I did. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative, and now you guys know, because I didn't share this before, so now you guys know how we found out Londyn had type 1 diabetes. And like I said, it is an everyday, day-to-day thing. No day is like the day before, and it's constantly a battle, but we are dealing with it the best way we know how to, and it's gotten easier over time. I'm not even gonna lie and say it hasn't. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it and comment below. And let me know if you have any other questions around this topic. If you guys want any general information or whatever, I would love to educate you guys, because a lot of people don't know that much about it. And I will see you guys in the next video.